Let's talk about a promise. It's a promise that's been drilled into us since we were kids, right? It's this fundamental belief about how you're supposed to get ahead in life. But what if I told you that this core promise, the one our entire society seems to be built on, is actually a trap? A trap that's designed to keep you running in place.
Sound familiar?
Yeah. Our parents told us this, our teachers told us this, society screams it for the rooftops. It's supposed to be this simple, comforting equation for success. Put in the hours, and the rewards will follow. It's pretty much the foundation of our entire work culture. But what's the reality for so many of us? Think about it. You wake up at 6 a.m., you sit in traffic or a packed bus, you put in 8, maybe 10 hours, and you come home completely drained. You pay the bills, and at the end of the month, you look at your bank account and see, well, exactly what you saw last month, maybe even less. That promise, it feels really, really far away. Then you open up Instagram or TikTok, and what do you see? You see these 19-year-old gurus yelling at you about hustle culture. You know the type. Wake up at 4 a.m., take an ice bath, work until your eyes burn. They're screaming that if you're not successful, it's your fault, that you're poor because you're lazy. Okay, but let's just pause for a second. What if this entire premise is just a massive lie? What if working harder isn't the secret to getting ahead, but is actually the very thing that's keeping you stuck? Today, we are pulling back the curtain on this lie. So, if the hustle isn't the answer, why does this model fail so many of us? Well, the problem is a huge misunderstanding of what productivity even means in the 21st century.
See, our whole idea of productivity is based on this super outdated model from 100 years ago. Back in a factory, it was simple. More hours meant more screws. The relationship was linear. But today, most of us are knowledge workers. For a creative or an analytical brain, working 12 hours instead of 8 doesn't just give you diminishing returns, it can actually make what you produce worse.
And the science totally backs this up. Research shows that after about 4 or 5 hours of really intense mental work, your performance doesn't just level off, it absolutely plummets. So, what are you doing for the rest of that time? Well, you're engaging in something called pseudo-productivity. You're just pretending to work. You're shuffling emails around, you're sitting in meetings that could have been an email, you're just trying to look busy so your boss doesn't get suspicious. The system has taught us that being busy means you're important. If you're not exhausted, you must not be working hard enough, right? But here's the good news. There is a better way. And no, I'm not talking about quiet quitting where you just phone it in and do the bare minimum. I'm talking about a whole new philosophy of work. This idea comes from the author Cal Newport, and it's called slow productivity. It's all about trading that frantic, unsustainable sprint for a more deliberate, strategic pace. It's not about being lazy. It's about being smart. It's a powerful alternative to the burnout cycle. So, how do you actually do this? How do you put it into practice? Well, it boils down to 3 simple rules that pretty much challenge everything we've been taught about work. Okay, rule number 1. Do less. Yeah, you heard that right. Not more, less. See, most people are juggling 5 or 6 projects at once, but every new task comes with what you could call an administrative tax. You know, all the emails, the meetings, the calls. If you take on too much, suddenly 80% of your day is just spent on this admin stuff, with no time left for actual deep work. The secret is to do the most important thing and learn to let the rest go. And this leads us right to rule number 2. Work at a natural pace. We're humans, not machines. We can't operate at 100% all year round. I mean, look at nature. There's a time for planting and a time for harvesting. But the modern workplace, it demands an eternal summer, always peak season. And that is a guaranteed recipe for burnout. Slow productivity says, hey, it's okay to have seasons of intense sprints, followed by seasons of recovery. It's not laziness, it's strategy. And that brings us to the third and maybe the most important rule. Obsess over quality. The world is just flooded with mediocre work, right? Quickly thrown together content, products, and services. If you want to stand out, if you want to earn more, you're not going to do it with sheer volume. Just think about it. Who makes more money? The writer who churns out 5 average books a year, or the author who spends years crafting one masterpiece that becomes a global bestseller? In today's economy, quality is the only real currency. Now, I know this might all sound really good in theory, so let's look at a real-world example of how this actually plays out. Let's call him Petter. Petter was a marketing professional, and he did everything. He managed the social media accounts, wrote the ads, the newsletters, he even edited the videos.
He was working 10 to 12-hour days and was always on call during weekends. He thought this was just the price of success. And the result? Total burnout, a nervous breakdown, and the exact same stagnant salary after 3 long years. Then, Peter made a change. He just said, okay, that's it. I'm not doing everything anymore. I'm truly good at one thing, and that's creating high-quality ads. So he dropped everything else. No more random social media posts, no more video editing. He focused only on creating the absolute best ads possible. At first, his colleagues gave him some funny looks. But then, as sales started to climb because his ads were just that exceptional, nobody cared how many hours he was sitting at his desk. Today, Peter works half as much as he used to and earns more, all because he realized he wasn't being paid for his time, but for the value he created.
Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking right now. This is a nice theory, but it's just not realistic for my situation.
And you're right to feel that way. A lot of employers demand your soul for minimum wage. You have loans to pay. You feel like you have no choice but to hustle. But that's exactly why you need to be smarter. Hustle culture tricks you into believing that if you just work harder, things will get better. They won't. You'll just get sicker. The way out isn't more work. It's smarter, more focused work. So start small. Say no to just one pointless task this week. Just one. Tonight, make a rule. Do not check your email after 8 p.m. Figure out the 1 or 2 activities you do that actually create real value and do those exceptionally well. Everything else, just do it good enough. So the real takeaway here is this. Don't fall for the social media hype. The person working 16 hours a day isn't a hero. They're probably just a bad time manager, or maybe they're running away from something else in their life. True success isn't about being constantly busy. It's about having the time to actually live the life you've supposedly earned. Because at the end of it all, what are you going to remember? How quickly you replied to that email back in 2024? Or that you were present with your family, your friends, and, with yourself? It's time to step off the hamster wheel. It's time to start slowing down. Starting today.